Welcome back to Inside City Hall, where we are turning our attention back to the Republican National Convention. Last night, Donald Trump announced that Senator J.D. Vance of Ohio will be his running mate. Closer to home, New Yorkers also have some consequential congressional races on the ballot come November, including for U.S. Senate. Democratic Senator Kirsten Gillibrand is being challenged by my next guest, Republican Mike Sapraicone. He is a retired NYPD detective who later formed a private security firm. And Mike Sapraicone joins me now from inside the convention hall in Milwaukee. Welcome to the program. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thanks, Bobby. Thanks for having me.
So I assume this is your first time at a Republican National Convention. First, talk a little bit about your experience so far and what the mood is like there, especially considering the attempted assassination on former President Trump on Saturday.
Well, you're correct. It is my first time, and it's electric. I'm really surprised. I didn't know what to expect, and all of a sudden, it's just amazing. The crowd is up, and it's like a big cheerleading contest. People all over the place, a big pep rally. But I got to tell you, last night when they put him on the monitors and he walked to his seat last night, you had goosebumps. We were only about 50 hours away from what had happened to him on Saturday, and that in itself was a miracle and just amazing. It was amazing. Everybody was on their feet. Everybody was cheering, and Lee Greenwood was singing God Bless America. It was just an exciting experience, and it was something like I've never seen before.
All right, let's talk about your Senate race. You are challenging Senator Kirsten Gillibrand. She has been in office since 2009. She has won 2 full terms in office, winning by a landslide in both cases. I think she won for about 34 points the last time out. So talk about why New Yorkers should change course and elect you to the U.S. Senate.
You know, Bobby, as you said before, I'm a retired New York City detective. I did that for 20 years. As I go around the 62 counties of this state, and they ask me, who are you running against? And I say, well, if you put her in a lineup, can you pick her out? And everybody says no. She's kind of missing in action. We haven't seen her. She's never been to our county. She's been our senator for 15 years. She's never been here. She's never been there. So it's about time we start holding our elected officials accountable. Not just accountable for what they do, but accountable for what they don't do. And I think I'm feeling that as I travel the state. These are not just conservative and Republican issues. These are American issues. This is not just left and right. This is right and wrong. And it's resonating with people as I talk throughout all the upstate, central New York, downstate, the boroughs. It's resonating. People see it's time for a change. And I always believe timing is important. And I think we're certainly at a point in our lives here in New York where we need a change.
So, you know, we're a very New York City-centric program. You were an NYPD detective. You were born and raised in Queens, I believe. Talk about, if you have appeal to voters here in deep blue New York City, or are you appealing more to voters in the suburbs and in upstate?
Well, I think it's important to appeal to the suburbs. I'm a city kid. I grew up in Queens. I patrolled the subways with the transit police. I patrolled the streets in all 5 boroughs. I know the streets. I know what the crime situation is. I know what we have to do to correct it. I know what it is to be a city person. I know what it is to want to feel safe and want to protect my family, want to bring the economy back and start creating more jobs so that my kids can live here, that my kids can do well here, that they can own a home. So, I think it's important. I have to do well in the 5 boroughs. It's really my goal that I will do well. I'll work hard. I'm going to be out there all the time. I'm going to be a senator not just for the Republicans and the conservatives, but a senator for the state of New York. You're going to see me. I'm going to talk to you. You see, I like to talk, Bobby, but I also did learn to listen many years ago. And I think it's important to listen to what the constituents have to say and try to work things out to bring best practices and work across the aisle. And that's what I did with my business. I think that's such an important part of my campaign is the business experience I have with my law enforcement background.
I think it's fair to say you are considered a centrist Republican, although you do have the endorsement of former President Trump. I know some Republicans here in New York have sort of kept have kept Trump sort of at arm's distance. Talk about how closely you align yourself with former President Trump. Do you see yourself as a MAGA Republican?
No, I don't necessarily see that, but I see myself as a supporter of President Trump, who Trump cares. and I care about this state and this country. And I think we're going to see, I'm looking forward to Thursday night when the president speaks, and I think we're going to see a different kind of Donald Trump. We're going to see somebody who's going to try to relate to everybody and express what he feels and how he cares and his goals for this country over the next 4 years, and show where we've been for the last 3.5 years and how do we get back to prosperity? How do we get back to safety? How do we get back to common sense? And I believe in those things, and I think that's important, and I think that's what we need right now.
Let's talk a little bit about your political donations. I know some Republicans have made note of the fact that over the years you have given to Democrats, as well as Republicans, tens of thousands of dollars to Democrats over the years. I believe your company also gave money to the state attorney general, Letitia James, who is one of the top public enemies of former President Trump. So how do you explain that to those in the Republican Party?
Well, Bobby, it's pretty simple, and I explained this to President Trump, and him and I discussed it. I'm a businessman in this city for 30 years and in this state, and just the course of doing normal business, not just in this state and the city, but in this country, is you have to work with both parties, and things come across your desk all the time, and you donate to both sides, and you keep them both at arm's length. I learned many, many years ago from an old client of mine, a person who's very well-to-do and very famous, and he said to me, Mike, if you're going to have a business in this city, in this state, in this country, you need to take care of both sides because you never know who's going to win, and you don't want to make enemies. And I do believe in that. I think that's the way, and I think it's unfortunate, but that's the American way. You have to work with both sides. That's important. But to give to both sides, it's what you have to do, Bobby.
You know, your name came up in another race that was being closely watched in these parts. That was the race for George Santos's congressional seat. I know you thought about challenging him, and then your name was in the mix in the special election to replace him, that race against Tom Suozzi. You were ultimately not chosen by the Nassau County Republican Party. Do you wish you had been? Do you think you would have run a closer race against Tom Suozzi in that special election this year?
Well, I'm not going to play Monday morning quarterback. I think I would have had a good shot. But listen, I'm a team player, and I understand. Mazi Philippe was the choice of the party back in December, and I supported her as I support the party. I think she ran a tough race. She's had a tough opponent, but I'm very pleased. Someone said to me, hey, Mike, do you want to run every 2 years for the Congress, or would you rather run just 6 years for the United States Senate? And I said, you know what? I think I get a better opportunity to govern as a senator. You know, not out there every other day raising money and never getting a chance to govern. I think I have an opportunity here to make a difference in New York State and to work hard. And I think it's all about working hard and caring. So I'm very happy with the position I'm in now and very honored that the state came to me and asked me. And the Nassau County GOP, Chairman Cairo, he nominated me, and Chairman Garcia are out in Suffolk. So they stood behind me when I stood behind them, and I'm happy about that.
All right, well, we will be keeping a close eye on that race. Mike Sapraicone, thank you so much for spending some time with us tonight.
Bobby, thank you so much for having me. Great to talk to you. Talk to you soon.
All right.